Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is MeyAroyo and I teach creative people how to sell their art online. And today I have a special video. I know there are a lot of videos on how to sell printables on Etsy, like printable wall art specifically, and a lot of people have been talking about this topic for such a long time. I even had several videos when I just started this channel about, explaining the DPIs and the sizes, how to get basically DPI 300 in each kind of inch, and what kind of ratios are people looking to buy wall art in based on the types of popular frames, as well as a video on how to make mockups for your wall art printables on Etsy. That was at the beginning of the channel, but in a more recent video, I think it was about a week ago, I was talking about my choices, my 13 choices of the easiest printables that you can sell on Etsy, digital downloads, printables, and wall art was, well, 2 of them. And the reason why I placed it on the easiest wall art to sell was because one of these options was the 1:1 ratio. A lot of people are selling printable wall art on Etsy, and a lot of sellers are struggling with figuring out the ratio. So they make a piece of art and they have to make it in the 2:3 and the 3:4 and the 4:5 and the 5:6 ratio, as well as adding the 11:14 inch and A4 size, like all the A sizes basically, and a US letter size. And that makes it really hard for a lot of people to get started with selling their printables, even if they are amazing artists. And it's not just that it's really hard to get started with all of these files, like the organization of the whole thing, of everything you do for a single listing can be very difficult, which is why the topic of this video is just the 1:1 ratio printable wall art for Etsy. Now, there are so many ways in which you can create your wall art printables. You can create them with Photoshop, with Canva, with Procreate, with Clip Studio Paint, with any of the other Adobe Illustrator softwares, and so many other softwares online. You could also sell them on various platforms like Etsy, Shopify with their digital download app, your own WordPress store, Payhip, Gumroad, and many, many other platforms that allow you to sell digital download items. You can also mock up them using different softwares. I mean, you can create mockups and basically listing photos using Canva, using PlaceIt, or even doing it yourself with Photoshop. But for today, I had to choose, certain aspects to make this tutorial. And the first of which is how to make the art, and I chose Procreate. I'm still not a Procreate master, and I'm definitely not a master of taking a video of me doing Procreate, so you'll have to forgive me for that. But I did choose Procreate because I love making abstract art using their program. I was trying to do something with mountains, didn't really work out for me, so I chose instead to do something abstract and more my speed, I guess, and more my style of art. And then I had to choose a platform in which to display how to sell it, and I chose Etsy. So I chose a size for the mockup photos for the featured image that I know works on Etsy, and designed the mockups using Canva as well as PlaceIt. I'm soon going to make myself smaller and share on the big screen my iPad as I was drawing one of these pieces on 20 inch by 20 inch with 300 DPI quality, which is something you can manually do on Procreate. Of course, if you have your own softwares, just follow whatever guidelines you can do to create your art using that software based on the DPI sizes or however your software works. Later, after creating the art, I'm going to take you to my computer where I'm going to show you how I created the mockup using Canva and PlaceIt, and even upload the listing onto Etsy. And I mean upload like everything, giving it a name, giving it tags, writing the description, showing you how to make the digital download product, and then get back to me, summarize this topic a little bit, and give you a little reminder of what we have in store for us in the next few days. So with that being said, let's make me smaller. So I can start by going into Procreate. And yes, you can see some of the stuff that I was working on this week. I'm going to go in and basically choose a new file in a new size by adjusting my size to inches and not pixels. And as I said before, 20 by 20 inch. And as this is a 1:1 ratio, that means that this will also be good for people to use for, they can print it on 10 by 10, they can print it on 5 by 5. And the amount of layers that I have to work with if I'm doing a 20 by 20 inch design is only 3. So it kind of limits me in terms of my layers. So I was looking into what I want to do. I want to play around with Procreate a little bit. This is not a Procreate tutorial, guys, even though the people who are quick eye amongst you can actually see like what I'm doing right now. Basically starting off with some shapes I made a moon, and sort of with the airbrush, I designed the top of the moon with a clipping mask and the airbrush behind it to make a shadow for the moon. And then with the layers above it, it took me quite some time to figure out how I want to do it. You know, I wanted to do mountains in the back and I was trying to figure out the colors. It's really hard working with only 3 layers, and then mountains on the other side or not, and a river in between, and making an abstract background. And it really took me forever to find out what I want to do with it. And it was really, really difficult to try and see basically how I want to design something for wall art. For me, the most important part that you get from this tutorial is some of the techniques that I'm using. I am going to focus more and not do a time lapse when I'm going to do the abstract design, which is something I'm far better at. And I do know that there are plenty other YouTubers with far better Procreate skills than me who actually explain pretty much everything. But for me, what was important for you guys to see was that it is really easy to create something if you have a talent for it. And of course, you can also do it in any other type of software, not just Procreate. After the epic fail of my first attempt to draw something, maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't, I don't know, I chose another blank piece of page and again did 20 by 20 inches with 300 dpi, which gives me a maximum of 3 layers. And for this, you know, I said, you know what, I just want to do something abstract, something more like my speed. So I was looking into some of the artistic brushes on Procreate to just play around with them. And this is one of my favorite brushes, even though I didn't choose it for this one, the Aurora brush, but I did choose the painting ones. And what I wanted to see is if I can have a really big paintbrush, like if I can color like all over the place, if I can have something really, really thick to drop down. And at the end, I chose Tamar, which is a nice brush. And I thought, you know what, even though it's not big enough, I can still draw it and manually with the arrow later on with the arrow tool, make it bigger. And then I was thinking something like, you know, yin and yang. And I know a lot of people are into like modern abstract art, which I am too. So I duplicated my element and basically sort of repositioned it to the other side by rotating it basically to the other side and clicking on my adjustment tools to play around with the saturation and the hue to basically transform the color of the other smear instead of just painting it again. Then I went back to my original layer and I reverted it to the other side, flipped it horizontally to sort of create that yin and yang effect that I like so much, and merge my layers so, you know, that I'll have space because I only have 3 layers. It's really hard to work like that. With the other layer, I was really trying to think what to do. So I went into textures, which is one of my favorite like tools and types. There is this cube texture that I'm obsessed with ever since I started with Procreate. I like playing around with it and just, I think it gives a lot of edge to whatever it is you're doing, as well as the Victoria one, which I'm using quite a lot. But I felt like in this painting, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I was looking also into the grid one, which also creates a really interesting texture and just playing around with the size of it. And of course, placing it behind my brush strokes to make it more native or more natural. I made a new layer on top with the Victorian and made that layer into a clipping mask. So it's only going to paint on the actual paintbrush strokes. And that's something that I kind of did like, even though I didn't like the colors. So I decided to play around really with the yin and the yang. So the red paint smear had some of the green elements on it, and the same thing with the other one. So I chose one of the red points, made it really bright, and then went all over, you know, the green smear. And I was looking at it and it felt kind of nice. I mean, it did look kind of nice, but I felt like something is missing in my background, maybe some abstract points. I was trying different brushes, and I think that whenever you're creating something with Procreate, it's always important to just test out and try. I merged my 2 layers of basically the brush strokes and whatever is on top of them and created another layer under everything with airbrushes, adding some pink to the top and to the bottom. And it felt a bit aggressive to me. So what I thought about doing was trying to play around with the background color, which didn't really work for me. I preferred the white. I wanted it to be brighter. But what I thought I might want to do is work on the back layer and just reduce the opacity, just make it very, very light, the background. And at that point, I felt I was pretty much almost done. I was just looking to maybe work on the saturation a little bit more, to give it more vivid colors, and to really play around with the settings to get something that I think I would like to have on my own wall. And I don't know if you like this design, by the way. Feel free to comment it down below if you like this concept or idea. To me, it's kind of nice. This is my kind of art, I guess. And all I needed to do at the end of the day was just airdrop both of these designs onto my computer as JPEG files. I didn't know quite then, like, if I wanted to use both of them or just one. So I said, you know what, I'll just export both of them to my computer and move on to Canva. And then started my journey with Canva, trying to design basically the photo that will be displayed on my Etsy store. And I like working with a specific size, which is 2454 by 2020 pixels. And of course, I took both of these art pieces and I dropped them into my Canva so I can play around with them. And whenever I'm doing something on Canva, I mean, if you already have your type of store, your Etsy store, if you have your logo, if you have your fonts and your colors, that would have been like so much easier if I had already my fonts and my colors. But I just want to show you something simple on how I designed it. So first of all, I was looking for wall art mockups under elements and under photos, looking for wall art mockups just to see if they have anything that is a full-on square. After scrolling pretty much a lot and not really finding what I was looking for, I decided to focus my search with wall art mockup squares, where I found several things like this really, really cool canvas, but if I would have put a photo on it, it wouldn't have looked real, and I wanted to look really good. There was also another nice mockup, but it featured kind of this Roman style, which I really didn't like. But there was also these frames, this actual frame that doesn't have a background to it. So you can actually put your art piece sort of in the back of it, and it's going to maintain the shadows. And then you can use both of them as a singular unit and then place a background of your own, which is something that I really, really like to do because it's very simple. All you have to do is just take that piece and just position it in the back of that frame. And because it's a square, you don't have to play around with the ratios, just reduce the size to make it fit. After grouping both of these together, I thought to myself I needed a background to be in the back. Maybe the background of the actual photo would be a nice idea. I was trying to play with the transparency. I do think that it would have been a good idea on hindsight now, but when I was doing it, I was like, no, it really isn't my thing. I was looking into more of my backgrounds because I have several backgrounds that I made, digital paper packs, that have this smoke effect. So I thought they might fit, or my wooden effect, like wood backgrounds that I also did with Procreate, by the way. I really like the blue one. I thought it really contrasted with the colors of my design, but what interrupted me was that my frame itself wasn't that good, so I was playing around with image effects and basically switching up the colors. By the way, there was a full tutorial on Canva image effects if you're curious about all these image effects that I'm going to do in this tutorial. I will leave a link to that down below. But for now, I was really looking into different ones, and I found one that still maintains the white of the area around the painting, but the frame was darker. All I had to do now is to add a bit of text, and I was thinking, you know, printable wall art, and I chose one of my fonts, which is called Circle Me, and I was looking into the fonts. I wasn't really sure what to do since, you know, this is for an imaginary store for you guys, and I felt that maybe Writing Nature, which is another font that I did, would be more suitable in this situation. Then I played around with the colors of writing down the printable wall art sign, and maybe even giving it a text effect to give it a bit of a shadow. By the way, there is another tutorial about all of Canva text effects, and there will be a link to that, of course, down below. After feeling satisfied with my work, I decided that I need to add a new page and basically work on a different type of like mockup, because Canva does have mockups. So what I did was basically click on the photo, upload the photo, and go to Smart Mockups in Image Effects. And they do have a lot of wall art mockups. However, most of their wall art mockups are, you know, horizontal or vertical. So it was a bit rough to find something that I like that's gonna be a full square. But I did end up choosing like this hangable poster thing, which is kind of cute. I wanted to work on it a bit. I wanted to sort of put it with a different background and some text. So I minimized the sides of it so that I can fully stretch it up without it being locked as my background, because if you would have just stretched everything out, it would have locked itself on a background and you cannot have a different background behind it. And I tried several backgrounds for this. At first, I copied the same type of background and tried playing with the transparency. But because the lines of this poster were really, really flimsy, it's like everything I put, you can't really see the hangable lines. So I switched up a bunch of colors. I didn't really know what to do until I decided to just go to black backgrounds and just try to find like cement or a wall or something that actually looks like a wall. And they do have a lot of options, but like the brick one was amazing, but it doesn't look good with my type of art. And yes, your design, your background design should fit your individual art, not just your store. And I found that this simple plastered wall in white was really nice. Of course, made it a little bit more transparent so you can actually see like visibly the lines of the actual poster. And then I grabbed a piece of text because I wanted to write down more about this art. And when I'm writing down several things, I'm going to be using two fonts. And again, these are the two fonts that you are using in your store. Don't just invent two fonts. If you have a font for your logo and for your cover photo, these fonts need to be consistent with all of your listings. I ended up just writing down, printable JPEG file to be printed up to 20 by 20 inch, print at home or at a local, like a print shop, like a local print shop. At some point, I felt like I really want to have more mockups that are different and unique. So I logged into PlaceIt, where I went straight ahead to mockups, print on demand mockups, and wall art. There is a full tutorial about PlaceIt in this channel. You can go ahead and check it out, as well as a link to PlaceIt down below. And I was looking into the different types of mockup styles that they have, like going down the page, going down the menu. And I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to scroll through and see if something catches my eye. Because if something catches your eye, that's all you need in a good mockup photo. And sometimes what I like to do is go one by one or just randomly click on like page number 6. And I ended up looking obviously on a lot of horizontally and vertically aligned photos because 1:1 ratio is kind of rare. But I found this amazing canvas next to the side of the bed. And when I was looking at it, I thought to myself, okay, I think my painting would actually go really well with the colors of this bedroom. So I uploaded the abstract painting onto it, which was a huge file. I was surprised it went up. And I kind of liked how it looked. PlaceIt does take a lot of time for it to download. Even when you do click download, it processes your art first. And only then can you download it to your computer and, of course, upload it onto Canva. You're seeing it faster because, I am video editing. So I uploaded it onto Canva and I was trying to play around with it as a background, but I felt like it was taking away the whole effect of the bed. So I made it smaller and said to myself, you know what, I could just have like a banner, like a sentence above it with some different color, and that would be a nice design instead of, having it flat out on all the sides, because I wanted people to be able to see the sides of the painting, like the full view of that bedroom area. After playing around with the colors a lot and also spacing out the letters, I decided it was good, but I decided I wanted to change something that I wrote on the other one, on the one with the blue sort of background, the blue wooden background, maybe 1:1 ratio, or maybe even to just call it again by its name. I was still working up on how to do this. And it's important you take your time to do the first time, like the first time you do these mockups, take your time, because this is going to be your style for the rest of the shop. So make that one stunts work for you. And I ended up just calling it opposite slides, abstract art. And I still haven't decided which one is going to be my featured image. I thought that I'm just going to go back once I have everything and look at it. But what I know that I'm missing is a photo that I think every single artist, every single person on Etsy should have within their photos. And that is a personal photo to thank people for coming into your shop. That is the basics of Etsy. That's why people come to Etsy, to buy from real people. And the reason why I'm telling this to people is for two reasons. One, to create that personal connection. And two, Etsy has this thing in their algorithm where if you have at least 5 photos, they think that your listing has better photos than if you had just 4 or 3. So this is a good way to actually have a photo that isn't repetitive of the mockups. And I kind of like it. I was scrolling through forever because I wanted to find a good photo of me, which took me a long time. And the way that I like to do it is place myself on the side and clear my background. And then I was thinking, what kind of background can I have for myself for this listing? And I just wanted to take, for this image, just to take the blue wooden background but also to give some sort of a square frame that will be behind me where I can put my thank you text. This was relatively easy to do with Canva. I do know a lot of people who are professional with Photoshop, with Adobe Illustrator, with Procreate, and still do their mockups on Canva just because it's so easy and so much fun. I basically copied the text from opposite sides, and I also took the text from the other one, like the two fonts, to basically thank people for checking out my store and letting them know that they can check me out on social media, like follow me, or if they have any questions, by adding the Instagram logo and my username. Obviously, you can also have your email address there. You can also have like your Facebook or whatever you want there, or just, you know, the name of the shop. It doesn't have to be Instagram if you're not using Instagram. Once that was done, I was thinking, okay, so I need 5 photos. So I'm still missing a photo. I'm going to go back to PlaceIt and I'm going to find another interesting and cute mockup. So I scrolled down on the initial one to see maybe there are some ideas there. I didn't really like them, went back into the beginning and was searching for something smaller because it's up to 20 inches. It can also be smaller, and I wanted to make it more accessible to people. And I really like that whole desktop kind of look. There was a special desk that I thought that the colors would really align nicely. And just a tip, I already uploaded onto PlaceIt, yeah? So instead of uploading again, just click on recently uploaded and it's going to be right there. After cropping it, making sure that it fits, waiting 24 million years for it to process and download, I took it back to my Canva account. And this time I filled up the entire space of my design, of my featured image with this photo. Stretching it out, I didn't want to show the lamp. And then I scrolled up. I wanted to review what I was doing. I kind of liked it, but I felt that maybe I would want to use the photo that I'm using now as a main photo. And I want something to write, you know, digital download item on top of. And I didn't like the same background that I was using for the thank you. So I just remember that one of the followers mentioned to me that I can click on Control-C. I think it was FNC, sorry, on my Mac, and it just made a circle. That was very, very easy. I colored that circle in black, copy-pasted it, colored the other circle in white, and made it inside. So sort of made myself my own circle frame till later on just put down the text, digital download, 20 inch by 20 inch. I reviewed everything that I've done, decided, you know, if it's good, if I like it, and I was looking into these and I was thinking 2 things to myself. One, you need to brand yourself. Everything has to have your logo on it, as well as some art protection, which you can also do with your logo. And for that, I went to previous listings of mine because I have my logo and copied the MeyAroyo Arts logo that I'm using in my own Etsy store, my new one. It's kind of exciting. And just placed it all over the place. So the first photo, I just put it down because it didn't really need art protection. But for the second photo, it was sort of on top of the print so that people can't actually steal the print without getting my logo in the mix as well. So it's kind of a watermark plus logo at the same time. And, you know, just if you feel like you need it, I mean, you don't always have to put it on your art if your art is very much like in an angle so people can take it, only if it's really, really flat. After it was done and unzipped so I could use these photos, I went to my Etsy store to my listings. It always takes me a million years to just find where the listings are. I don't know why. And then uploaded these 5 photos onto my Etsy listing. Later on, of course, you can adjust them to decide which one is going to be the first one. And I was just scrolling down to see what I need to do. And this is the point where I had to decide which will be the featured image. Is it going to be the one with the blue, like wooden thing? But I thought maybe the first one should be the one on the desk. And of course, the last one should be the one of me thanking people. Scrolling down below, I wanted to get to the part of the description because above it, you can choose if you're selling a physical or a digital product. And once you choose a digital product, you will be able to upload a file. So I went to my downloads and then I saw that my file is named artwork, untitled artwork. And when you're selling actual files, always make sure to sell them in the good name. I mean, always make sure that the file actually has the name that the client is going to get. So opposite sides was the name of the artwork, which I uploaded onto my Etsy store. Scrolling back up, I came up with the name. I was looking into opposite side, printable wall art, abstract painting, square art print digital download, instant download wall art printable 20 inches. Who did it? I did. It's a finished product made in 2020, 2021. And as for category, I typed in printable wall art and it suggested me the first one to go with digital prints. So that's what I did. In subject, I chose abstract because, well, it is abstract. And I also thought that it might be nice to check out the other categories, even though it is just abstract and pattern. But I also thought it was a bit steampunk. I think it's kind of steampunk, so I chose that. And you can choose up to 5 different rooms where this art would fit. Obviously, it can fit other rooms, but I just chose some random rooms like living room, nursery, the hallway, the bedroom, and the style of the house, which to me was bohemian and eclectic. I don't even know if I'm right. I'm really not good at that. With the height and the width, 20 inches, even though you don't really have to write anything there because it's printable. And the occasion, I thought, there's housewarming. So that would also be a nice occasion to put. And holiday I left blank because this is really not themed. And then came the part of the description. And let me just speed it up for you for a minute so I can read up everything from start to finish. And when it comes to writing down your description, it's really important to do like specific things en route, especially with wall art. So what I did was opposite sides, printable wall art, abstract painting, which is presenting this, basically what this is. And then I wrote that it's a digital abstract painting for instant download, which means you can download it right after purchasing and print it in various types of wall hangings. On various types. You can print it in your home printer, take it to a local print shop to be printed on canvas or art paper. And of course, all caps, this is a digital item, no physical painting will be shipped to you. I wrote the size that is basically the file can be printed up to 20 inch without losing the 300 dpi quality, but people can also print it smaller, like 5x5, 8x8, 12x12, etc. And the thing is that people can also print it bigger. I mean, if you go to a print shop that tells you that what they need is a 200 resolution, 200 dpi and not 300 dpi, you can actually print it on 30 inch by 30 inch. And then what you get, and that's the thing that is the most important. With so many printable wall art sales on Etsy, what you get is a million files of all the ratios. But that's the thing with the 1:1 ratio wall art. What you get is one file, one JPEG that is 6,000 by 6,000 pixels and 300 dpi to be printed up to 20 inches. And yes, I can also make it smaller. I could have also saved it on a 5x5, on a 10x10, on a 12x12, on an 8x8 and given all of them, but it's still way easier than, giving a million ratios. Right under that, I wrote respect the artist. What I meant was, this is a printable wall art piece that I did. And it's meant for, just personal use, not commercial use. So people cannot sell it, cannot distribute it, or use it to make items for sale. But they can display this in their office as well as give it to as many friends as they want and print it as many times as they want. Right after that, I did like stay in touch. If people have any questions, they can contact me through Contact Seller or through my Instagram. And of course, if someone purchased it and downloaded and printed it, I would love to see photos, whether it's on Etsy or on Instagram. This is something that I like to say whenever I was selling printables and something that I advise to every printable wall art seller that I was working with in the past few years. Once that is done, we have sections, which is not relevant for my shop because I'm selling, commercial use clip art. And I was writing down printable wall art, but the thing is that if you're selling printable wall art, maybe 1:1 ratio would be good if it's special for you. Or if all your shop is printable wall art 1:1 ratio, this would be abstract painting or abstract wall art. It's up to you based on the types of other items that you have in your store. Then came the part with tags. And I was really trying to find tags that would fit and ended up with, let me skip this further to the end. And ended up with the titles, square wall art, printable wall art download, printable painting, abstract painting, square painting, opposites painting, yin and yang, square art print, digital download art, instant download art, acrylic painting, and original artwork. I basically started searching for this on Etsy and see what Etsy offers me. But there was also a video that I did about Etsy SEO and SEO tools where you can go ahead and check out my review over eRank as well, or use whatever Etsy SEO tool that you like to use for these tags. Following that, I scrolled down, gave it a price. What you see here is shekels because my store is in shekels. And don't forget to mark down the quantity because you don't have just one. You have a million of them because it's a digital download, and publish to my store. which you can view right now on Etsy with me, but you won't be able to review it later because, well, I deleted it. It's not part of my art. It's not part of what I'm selling. I did upload, you know, my other font, and I'm working on uploading more fonts, but for now we have this one where, you know, we're done with it. So let's just make me bigger again. And if you like this video or found this content useful, please hit that like button down below, because every time you do, YouTube thinks, hey, this is a cool video, I'm going to show it to more people. And subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. I've been getting a lot of questions lately from people asking me, you know, what am I selling, or if I'm selling this. I'm not selling printable wall art. I'm doing my wall art designs and selling them on print on demand. I'm not doing printable wall art, but I did work with a lot of people who sold printable wall art and sold it in the past when I was far less talented. For me, I rather focus on selling digital backgrounds, clip art, and fonts. I'm having a great time with fonts. But if your artistic style is calling you out to sell printable wall art, having a 1:1 ratio makes it really easy for you guys to mock up everything as a stanz, to upload everything really, really fast, and to only have to give the client basically one type of file. As I said before, you can create beautiful designs using Canva. You can do them with Photoshop, with Clip Studio Paint, as well as have multiple platforms where you can sell them on. There are several videos in this channel about how to sell, you know, digital downloads on Payhip or with your own Shopify store. If you are interested in me making more tutorials demonstrating on these platforms, please let me know in the comments section down below. I just use Etsy because I think that more people are searching into Etsy. And it's even funny because more people who are searching into how to sell something on Etsy end up watching the Payhip tutorials to sell on Payhip. Because Payhip rules. They really rule. They have an amazing, amazing platform. I still have not been able to figure out the domain thing. It sort of got stuck in the process. It did the SSL certification, but it failed. And I really didn't have a moment to even contact their support. So I'm not saying they're bad. I just really didn't have time to handle it. I've been uploading onto my Etsy store. I've been working on fonts, and of course YouTube is keeping me busy, as well as working on my display store and my Society 6, and working for some clients of mine, as well as being active in the community in the co-living space that I live in Bansko. And this is pretty much it for this video. I mean, I don't want you to take from it like the 1:1 practice. I mean, I want you to make your own art. And of course, you can get inspired by what I did if you like my style on Procreate. It's really easy to make it your own once you're in the zone, you're just holding the pen, holding the tablet, and feeling whatever abstract emotion takes over you. And it's super fun to do it as well. And I really want you to take from that the lesson of you can do it yourself. You can do it for yourself in your style and mock up it in the size that fits your platform. I mean, if you're selling this on Shopify, you can make these designs to be, 1500 by 1500 pixels and not the size I chose for Etsy, as well as, if you're selling it on Payhip. So every platform has its own sizes, but I do think that the lessons of how to do the mockups using Canva and PlaceIt are valid for pretty much every single platform. We are almost done with this video. I just have two more things to tell you guys. One is to remind you the schedule that we have for this week. So Tuesday is Digital Downloads Day, and that was done. And Wednesday is a product review day where I'll be sharing with you several print-on-demand wall art pieces that I have ordered and came up. These are posters and art prints that I'm going to show you the quality of the printing, the quality of the packaging, the quality of the paper, and talk about the supplier where I got them from. They're from Finer Works, from Redbubble, Society 6. One of them is actually from a viewer of this channel that was reviewed in Shop Review. Some of them are my designs, and I can't wait to show it to you. And then a day after that, on Thursday, I'll be seeing you guys here with another Procreate tutorial, and it's going to be the easiest Procreate tutorial you've ever seen. It's how I make my own liquify art, my liquid art for Society 6, and it's so easy. So easy that I think that it was a similar tutorial that I saw, I think it was a few months ago, that got me thinking, I need to get an iPad and Procreate because it doesn't matter if I'm not talented. I can make amazing art with this technique. I am going to use it for Society 6, but it can be for any other print on demand as well as for selling printables. So I think it will be a nice video to do. And of course, on Friday, I'll be seeing you guys with shop reviews, where I'll be reviewing your shops, whether they're on Etsy, Shopify, Payhip, Redbubble, Society6, wherever it is that you're selling your print-on-demand or printable items. You can still apply for shop reviews. There is a link down below in the description where you can go in and anonymously submit your shops to a Google form. So keep these shops coming up to me. And the second thing that I wanted to tell you guys before this video is done is I wanted to ask you a question. And this question is regarding to a font that I showed you that I was making yesterday. So I started making a font yesterday. I ended up finishing it last night, and I promised that I will give several of you guys this font for free. And the way I'm going to do it is pretty simple. All you have to do is go down below to the comment section of this video and tell me if you will get this font for commercial purposes. What will you do with it? Will you design things for Redbubble with it? Will you design printable wall art for Etsy? Will you design printable greeting cards? What will you do with this font? There are no wrong answers, only right answers, unless your answer is I want to resell that font, because that's literally the only thing you won't be able to do with it under my license. And next week on Monday, I'm going to take all of the names of the people who will comment to this video saying what they will do with this font. I will put all their names in my hat like I always do and pull out 5 names from that hat, and these 5 people are going to get that font for commercial purposes for free. Because yes, I decided that I'm going to do that thing every single Monday, and it's really, really, really fun. Maybe I'm just bored from YouTube. I'm like, I keep on having these things to keep myself entertained. Who knows? In any case, I hope that you like this kind of cool concept, and I'm reminding you, what will you do with this font? Comment it down below, and 5 of you are going to get that font for free. But with that being said, with our wall art mock-up being uploaded to Etsy, being deleted from Etsy because my store is not about wall art, and with the 1:1 ratio selling on Etsy, printable wall art explained, that was it from me for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an amazing week. And as usual, I'll see you guys tomorrow in my next video. Bye!